guys, welcome back to Pro Gun. If you haven't already done so, please hit the subscribe button. I'd greatly appreciate that. Today, my wife Barbara and I are going to go over everything you need to know to buy your first handgun. Before you go to the range and before you go to a gun store, there's a lot of things that you need to take into consideration. So we'll go through all of those, and hopefully at the end of the video, you'll have enough information to make up your own mind. So, what do we want to cover first?
Safety is number one.
That is correct. Gun safety is number one. I feel that before you introduce a firearm into your home, you should at least know how to operate a firearm safely. And I would probably also get formal training. And I don't mean going to the gun range with your friends that teach you their bad habits. I mean with a pistol instructor. What about gun laws?
You got to know the gun laws of your state. We live in the great state of Tennessee, so we don't have a lot of gun laws here, but we have some. So make sure you know the gun laws of your own state. Make sure you know the gun laws of the states around you, and if you're going to travel, make sure you find out the gun laws in the states into which you're going to travel.
You also need to know where you can and can't carry and how you can and can't carry. You may not be able to open carry in another state, even though your state has reciprocity. It's also important to note whether your state has a castle doctrine or stand your ground law. So now that the laws are covered, I guess before you buy a gun, you need to set a budget, right?
That's for sure. Everybody's budget's going to be different.
Okay, but cheap isn't always good either.
Nope. Buying a gun cheap is probably not a good... Buying one on sale is a great idea, but buying one on the cheap, probably not such a good idea.
We've determined after all the guns we purchased and doing our research, a realistic goal is about the $500 price range. If you're in the $500 price range, it opens up a whole world of reliable name brand guns that are going to last a long time and you could trust your life on. Right?
Yep, that's for sure. You want one that's going to go bang every time.
Exactly. So now we need to determine what you want to buy the gun for, because there's a lot of guns out there, and a lot of these issues are going to all be based on what you want it for. Do you want to use it to just go plinking in the backyard? What else would you use it for?
Well, I mean, my main concern is personal defense when I'm outside, when I'm, out shopping and doing all the things that, we do, running errands and all that kind of stuff. So in my car, on my person, I mean, to me, that's important. Plinking in the backyard, well, we live in Tennessee and we can do that, and that's fun. But I think personal protection is probably my number one.
And home defense. There's a big difference between a home defense gun and a personal defense gun. And I guess the last thing is hunting. In the great state of Tennessee, we are allowed to hunt with the pistol as long as it's .38 caliber and above. So now that we got that taken care of, now you have two decisions to make. Do you go with a revolver or do you go with a pistol? Well, I'm a pistol guy. Barb loves revolvers, so I'm going to let her talk to you about the revolvers.
Okay, so my first gun was a revolver. Part of the reason was because I didn't know anything about guns. So revolvers to me were simple, nothing, there's nothing to do. You load them up, close it up, pull the trigger, bam. That's, by the way, all these guns are unloaded. This is our private home, but they are all unloaded, we promise. Anyway, so I just thought, load the gun up and pull the trigger, which worked for me for a while with my lovely lavender lady at Charter Arms, which I happen to like, and it was a reasonable price, which she bought for me. But as the years went by, I realized that the recoil from this gun was just not working for me. Because it recoiled this way, and when I started using the semi-automatics, they recoiled this way. Anyway, this way was just too hard on my wrist, so I've now switched. But I'm going to give you the little intro to the revolvers anyway, because you may like them. They may like their simplicity. So different parts of a revolver. First of all, you got your barrel. This one is a 2-inch barrel. Okay. This one, which is very beautiful. It has a 3-inch barrel. This is the
Smith & Wesson
Smith &
Model
Wesson
60.
357 Magnum. Okay, that's what that one is. And then we've got the 4-inch barrel. This is a Taurus tracker. So, I mean, as far as ammo goes, this gun will shoot the 38 Special. These guns will shoot the 357 Magnum, and they will also shoot the 38 Special. The Lavender Lady Charter Arms only shoots the 38 Special. Anyway, so you got your barrel. You've got your cylinder, and you've got your release here. It's a little hard for me to show, but anyway, you got your cylinder release here, so you just push that forward, you open it up, and you put your bullets in here, and then you close it up again. Easy peasy. There's nothing to it, okay? Now, there is no safety on this gun. The safety is don't pull the trigger. But as soon as you pull the trigger, that gun is going to go boom. All right. Now, being that it has this short barrel on it, the recoil is a lot, all right? Even though these guns are bigger, actually the longer the barrel gets, most likely, hopefully, the recoil is not going to be as tough. But anyway, so 2, 3, and 4-inch barrels, and also bullet capacity. So this is a 5. This one is a, what's this one?
That's 5.
It's 5 also. Okay, 5. And then is this one?
7.
And this has a 7-round capacity.
Revolvers are typically 5 to 7 rounds.
Okay. And they're all basically the same. You've got your release here, you got your cylinder here, and then you've got this little what's it called?
That is the ejector
rod. Yeah, you got your little ejector rod here. Now, the one thing I will tell you is that after you've shot a couple of rounds out of these, they do tend to get the cylinder tends to get a little bit hot. So, you know, normally you should be able to go like this and tap the gun and tap the shells out. But a lot of times you can't. They're stuck because of the heat, because it's expanded them. So if you just give it a minute, don't stick anything in there to and especially don't stick your fingers in there because it's hot. Just give it a minute, let it rest, let them cool down, and then hit the ejector rod, and they'll all come out. As far as grips, I mean, this grip on this gun I happen to love. I think it's a great grip. This is the grip here. Okay? And some grips are interchangeable. So you might think, you know, if, I don't really love this, let me find out if they make something else. All right, some grips are very, very aggressive. They're just hard to handle. But anyway, this one is very nice. This gun has a beautiful grip on it, but what I find is you get your pinky kind of hanging out at the bottom there. I mean, you can just, you know, curl it in, but still it just kind of hangs. It's not, I don't love it because I want to have a firm grip on a gun. And then this one, of course, got a beautiful grip on it. It's big.
And those rubber grips really absorb the recoil as well.
It really makes a huge, huge difference. So what else we got?
You want to go over
muzzle, frame of the gun, this part here. What else? Grips. We did the okay. The other thing we're going to look at is sights. Now this gun, if you can, I don't know if you can see it, but this just has, this is the sight here. This is the front sight, and it's just got this. What did you call it?
It's just a channel groove. There is no rear sight.
Yeah, just a channel groove. Okay, and then you've got your front sight here. It's a bit of a challenge using this. You've got to, you could do it. Anybody can do it.
Typically, the snub nose revolvers are done that way because it's basically a belly gun. It's for so close up shooting. You're not going to be aiming that. You're going to just pull it out and shoot.
Okay. Both of these actually have the front and rear sight. So you've got your rear sight here, and you've got your front sight here.
And the rear sights are adjustable.
What else?
You want to go over the hammer?
Yeah. So this revolver. Is this revolver?
What's that?
Double action.
I thought you were going to go over what the hammer is.
Oh, the hammer. Okay, well, that's the hammer there. You can pull it back. All right. So once you pull this hammer back, it moves your trigger back halfway, so that when you go to shoot it, it's a very, very light trigger pull. You don't need to pull the hammer back though to shoot it. All right, that just makes it easier. It's double action. When you don't pull this back, it's called double action, which means that it's going to go like that. It's a little harder, and it's also going to be harder to aim, especially if you're doing target practice or anything like that. It's a little bit harder to aim. So basically, if you cock the hammer, you can see, and just pull the trigger. I'm going to show you, because when you cock that hammer, that trigger actually physically moves back. It's rotated one of the bullets right into the chamber there, and then you're just going to pull the trigger. Or, as I said, you can pull the trigger, and that makes it a little bit more difficult. Good? Did I do
Yeah.
that? Yeah, that's okay. Cylinder, cylinder is this thing here, this whole thing here, and then each one of these is a chamber. So that's that, and then when you push it back, generally they have some kind of a, like this one has some kind of a, like you don't want to push it on the cylinder, you want to push it, it generally give you some sort of a bar over here that you could push it with. They all do. The ejection rod we looked at. Okay, capacity. We did that. Did we do capacity? This was 5.
Mhm.
5, and you could go up to about. Did we say 9?
Some of them is typically it's between 5 and 7.
Between 5 and 7. Remember, the more ammo you have in your gun, the heavier it's going to be. So if you're shooting this and you say, "Oh, this is great," put some ammo in it and then see how great it is, because it really increases the capacity. So we have, this is your normal 38 special ammo, okay? That's for basically for this gun or for any of these guns, but that's your 38 special. You've got your 357 Magnum. You can see the difference here. All right. And then some people like a 22. You can also get a revolver in 22. So that's what the 22 ammo looks like. I mean, you're not going to use 22 for defense, but it's good for plinking. It's good for going to the range. It's good for playing around because it's very cheap. What else? Did it?
I guess all revolvers are heavy because they're typically steel.
Steel.
Right? A lot of them now are either blued or stainless, and there are a few revolvers that have a polymer frame, which is a very rugged plastic, but for the most part, revolvers are typically steel, so that does make them heavy.
And they're basically all the same.
Yes.
I mean, you could, across these 3, they're all the same. They've got the same parts, they've got the same moving parts, they've got the same, basically the same frame, just different size. Capacity is a little bit different, but basically they're all going to be the same.
There's no learning curve.
Nope.
Going from any manufacturer revolver to another. They're very simple. And what about cleaning? They're a lot easier to clean.
Yeah, they're much easier to clean. Brush, open it up. Brush. You don't have to break it down. There's no field stripping. So, and that's it. So they're easy to do, as opposed to the semi-automatics, which you have to field strip them and then find all the springs when they go flying. So anyway, that's the intro to revolvers.
Do you want to show them how to load and unload a revolver?
Oh, well, I think we kind of sort of, but we could do it. So cylinder release, just push it forward. Again, so on the same one, open it up. And all you're going to do is you're just going to drop your ammo in. Okay? And then close it up. And that's it.
And unload it?
Oh, I have to unload it too.
Yeah.
I thought I pulled the trigger 5 times. Only kidding. Unload it, close it up, and you're done. So that's it for revolvers.
Yeah, revolvers may be a good
peasy.
choice for you. They do have limited magazine capacity, but they are very reliable because there's very few moving parts. I have never in 30 plus years seen a revolver jam, and they're easy to operate. Basically, you pull the trigger, and a revolver cannot go off by itself unless the trigger is pulled. Even if you pull the hammer back on a revolver and throw it against the wall, it will not fire unless you pull the trigger. Ask Alex Baldwin. Now, the next choice is a semi-automatic, and semi-automatic and pistol will be used interchangeably. Now, there's a whole option of semi-automatics, and the choice is a lot more complicated than a revolver, which is why before you purchase anything, you should really just go to a local gun range, rent a gun and try it out. Don't fall in love with a gun because it looks really cool or your friend's gun. Try them out. What's right for one person may not be right for another. Now, unlike the revolvers, the most common semi-automatic pistol is made out of polymer, and it is a very rugged plastic. It's very durable. Typically, Glock is known for that. That's how the Glock was first made. But then there are people that like steel, and this is a 1911. 1911 is a classic. It won 2 world wars. It is all steel. And the good thing about a 1911 is whether you buy $1,000 1911 or a $400 1911, the parts are exactly the same. Even the trigger pull is exactly the same. And 1911 come in different calibers. You can get them in 38 Super, 9 millimeter, 10 millimeter, which is this, and 45 ACP. Matter of fact, on a 1911, that's where the term cocked and locked came from. You cannot even engage the safety on a 1911 unless you pull the hammer back, load one into the chamber, then you can put on the safety. Now, what you're going to want to look for in a pistol is capacity, number one. You can get a pistol that handles from 8 rounds all the way up to 17 rounds. They also come in many different frame sizes. You have a subcompact, you have a compact, and you have a full size. Now, depending on what you're doing with it, if you're going to use it for hunting or target shooting, a full size may be a good choice. But if you're going to carry it every day, you're probably going to want to go with a subcompact or compact, because having this in your pants all day long can get to be uncomfortable. Also, unlike a revolver that's limited to 5 to 7 rounds, and you have a semi-automatic pistol, you shoot the Glock 20. How heavy is this with 15 rounds of 10 millimeter?
Yeah, it shoots nice.
All right, so more is always better. You don't know how many rounds you're going to need. Other things to look at is that some people like to have a safety. This is a Smith & Wesson Shield EZ, and there's a safety on both sides. Okay. Some people like that warm and fuzzy thing. Another thing to know is some semi-automatic pistols have a back strap like this. And in order for the gun to fire, you have to really put a good grip on it, because if you don't touch the back strap, it won't fire.
It's another safety, though.
It is another safety. It's a form of safety. Mm-hmm. Another thing is there are some semi-automatics. This is a Glock 19. It's probably the most common pistol in the world. There is no manual safety on the Glock. And the slide release on all semi-automatics are all back here. And some are ambidextrous and some aren't. The Glocks are not. All of the magazine releases are all in the same place. The difference is that there is only one chamber on the semi-automatic. That's it. Doesn't have a cylinder that spins. And then you have your slide, your barrel, obviously the muzzle at the end of the barrel. The sights on pistols opens up a whole new world, because there's night sights, there are fiber optic sights that really pop in the daylight, but they're not that great in the dark. And some of them are optic ready, like this one. This is the Hellcat Pro from Springfield. And all you have to do is remove the screws, take this plate off, and you can take an optic and put it on, and it's already done. The back straps are available on the Glock to accommodate wider hands or smaller hands. Typically, that's the major drawback with some of the pistols, is that it is what it is. There's nothing you can do to change it. But they do come available in different sizes. Now, the difference also between a revolver and a semi-automatic is loading them. You load the magazine. You insert the magazine, pull the slide back, and there's one in the chamber. That's how you carry a pistol. Some people aren't comfortable carrying this way, and that's why they go with a revolver. I know you like revolvers. Do you don't feel comfortable carrying with one in the chamber?
Well, no, No, I don't mind. I mean, I think if you're going to carry one for protection, you got to put one in the chamber and leave your safety off. I mean, that's going to be the best. That's going to be the fastest way. So no, I mean, yeah. When I first started with guns, and I thought this was the answer. I no longer think that now. But I had a good reason for that. Part of the reason was I couldn't rack the slide. I couldn't rack any of the slides a couple of years ago. So like this. Barely, barely, and I can't rack it enough to get one in the chamber.
That's why we got you this Smith and Wesson.
Yep. So a few years ago, Smith and Wesson came out with what they called an EZ. I guess they realized that they had a lot of women who were looking to buy guns, and they were missing the mark with especially older women because
older people in general, not just women. You could be arthritic or have a disability.
Yeah, that's true. So they made what's called an EZ. So easy rack. It's very easy. It really is very easy. So that was the answer there. So once they came out with that, solved all my problems. I didn't need to have to worry about that. But I do happen to love this gun, and I love shooting it, and it's great for target practice. But the problem is when I want to shoot it, I have to give it to him, and he's got to rack it for me, and then he gives it back to me. So that's not ideal, but I still like to play with it.
This is a Glock 20. It's a 10 millimeter. This is a cannon. Another thing is that most pistols have a rail here, and that's a Picatinny rail.
Oh, you're talking about the rail for the light?
Yeah. The Glocks have a standard Glock rail, and you may want to mount the light. And it's just very easy. It slides right on. If you like a lot of bling, you can tell all of my Glocks. I have the Punisher mag plates, right? I put Punisher back plates. I have night sights on almost all of my Glocks. If you're looking to dress up your firearm and bling is important, a brand like a Glock is good. There's a bazillion aftermarket parts for Glocks. But that's, you need to learn how to operate a gun and shoot safely and properly before you worry about that. So there's a lot of different options. Revolver's not bad. Only you can decide what's right for you. But purchasing a pistol could be a little intimidating. There's just so many choices out there. And you have frame sizes, you have polymer, you have steel. You get one with night sights. And they're all different. If you look at a revolver, the sights are pretty much the same, right?
Yeah.
I mean, they work the same.
Mm-hmm.
But when you're looking at pistols, okay, this Springfield has a U-shaped notch in the back, as opposed to the 3 dots, and the standard dots on the Glock are just this horseshoe-shaped thing. It gets very complicated, and it could be a big learning curve going back and forth between the other. Like we said, with the revolver, there is no learning curve. But you need to make a decision on what's right for you, and hopefully we gave you enough information to do that. Did we talk
about price?
We did talk about price. We said that we agreed that $500 price range is...
Right, but one of the things that we've talked about a lot is, what if you don't have $500? What do? You buy it anyway? Is having it better than not having it?
It depends on what you're buying it for. If you need to buy a gun for personal defense, and you can't afford $500, I mean, I personally would wait. I'm impatient. I don't wait to buy guns, right. Do I? But if you can wait to save the money, I would recommend the $500 price range. I mean, if your life and your family's life are depending on it, you're going to really skimp. But if you can't afford it, and for some reason you had to have one right away, there are some reliable brands out there. Like a Taurus is fairly reliable. Rock Island is reliable, and you can get them in the $350 to $400 price range. But my feeling is if you could afford a $400 gun, you can wait and save up an extra $100. But
it's probably a better idea. Although I have to say though, when I first started with the guns, I bought that. Remember that 380 that I bought? Oh, That was
Oh, the Ruger.
Oh, the
380.
Ruger 380. What a terrible gun that was. But I thought that's what I had to have. So I went from this to that. And then we got the gun and realized that I couldn't mount the slide. And the other problem is because it's so small, it's only a 380, it's a little gun. You're going like this. There's nothing to hold on to, and there's nothing hardly to push against. So that was a mistake. That gun got traded in real quick. So yeah, when you make mistakes, you may make mistakes. You may go home and try and use it, and it's not good for you. And we've traded in tons of guns. We've bought a lot of guns and said, nope, this is not working for me.
I bought a lot of guns that I just fell in love with at the gun store. I had a Kimber for about 2 weeks. I couldn't stand it. I brought it back. If you're going to go a pistol route, though, I would recommend that you go with the 9mm because it's a perfect self-defense round and it's cheap. A 45 ACP may be a little much if you never shot before, and 10mm is certainly overkill. And
in a good way, though. In a good way.
Yeah, but if you go the 9mm route, there are so many choices, and there's so many great guns in 9mm.
And 9mm ammo is cheap.
It's real cheap.
And during COVID, the ammo was so expensive. Literally, 9mm was practically all that was reasonably priced.
And it's evolved a lot over the years.
And it's available everywhere, and there's always sales on it, and you can buy buckets of it. And
I mean, that's what law enforcement uses. It evolved a lot over the years. 9mm's got almost as much stopping power now as the 40 caliber, so it's a great choice. And I guess depending on how many guns you buy, you are going to want to secure your firearm at home, especially if you have young children. We're lucky we have no one else in the house but us, and we know where each of us is at any time of the day. But for gun safety, you should lock your guns in a safe, and they should not be available to unauthorized persons, which would be
any minor.
Felons.
Felons.
Felons. People under the influence.
Mm-hmm.
And you'd feel bad if you blatantly just left guns laying all over the house. You'd probably feel bad if somebody broke in your house and stole your gun and shot and killed somebody. I mean, we carry our guns all day long, but the guns we're not carrying are always in the safe.
Well, the problem is too, you got to check your state laws. I think there are states that require you to have either a gun safe or a trigger lock.
They do.
Yeah. So, I mean, it makes sense. You should do it anyway. But there are some states that's the law.
Right. But yes. I mean, if we carry all day long, and the reason for that is most home invasions happen between 10 in the morning and 3 in the afternoon. They don't happen in the middle of the night. A gun with a trigger lock on it does no good if you need it immediately for self-defense. And a safe doesn't do you any good if you need it for self-defense. But if you have a bunch of guns, every gun but the one that you have on you should be secured.
They have those little lock boxes too.
Yeah.
I mean, if you wanted to keep one on your nightstand and
keep
it away from the
biometric
kids,
safes,
biometric safes,
things like that.
That'll hold like one gun.
We have ours bolted to the floor, so a safe is not foolproof. All it does is slow them down, and hopefully they'll just go on to the next house that's easier. But I know we threw a lot of information at you. We will be doing another series on our recommended guns for concealed carry, if that's what you choose to carry. And that's about it. You have anything else you want to cover?
Nope. I think we're good. Be a responsible gun owner if you're going to buy a gun.
And get training.
Yes, get training. And if you have any questions, just hit us up. We're happy to answer any questions that you have. We have a lot of videos out there, too, on other subjects like holsters and
training methods. Things like that. Cleaning, yes. How to disassemble your firearm.
Yep.
It's very important that you clean your firearm after every time you shoot. Whether you shoot 10 rounds or 500 rounds, every time you come home from the range, you should really clean your gun. The last thing you want to have is your firearm malfunction because you didn't clean it. And you've already found this video on our channel. We have hundreds of videos out there for cleaning and training methods and comparisons of different guns that may help you make a decision.
Oh, and women, holsters for women, different ways you can carry as a woman. That was a fun one.
Yeah.
It took a lot of research. And you have a lot of videos out
Yeah.
there.
The great one is for women that carry in their purse. It makes my hair stand on the back of my neck. That's a great video.
Yeah, don't do that. Don't do that. If you have any suggestions for videos, anything you'd like to know or hear about or learn about, be shown. Let us know in the comments.
Any questions too? We're always here to help. Thanks for watching.
Take care.